The Brain Injury Needs Indicator, or BINI, has been designed to be used at the point of a social care assessment, so the often hidden deficits caused by brain injury can be identified. It's been designed by the Brain Injury Rehabilitation Trust, who have over 20 years' experience in brain injury, was created at the request of the Department of Health, and was developed in line with the CARE Act 2014, so you can be sure that you're following best practice guidance when using the tool. The BINI doesn't replace the local authority's own general needs assessment, but is designed to be complementary. It's not designed to determine eligibility, but it will give you an indication of any needs or increased risk caused by a brain injury. The BINI should only be used by health and social care professionals who have been trained and have the relevant experience to carry out assessments. It should be used when you or the individual, or somebody close to them, asks for a social care assessment, and where you or they believe a brain injury may be contributing to their need for care and support. The BINI is used during the initial stages of information and evidence gathering. Research shows that if there has been a poor level of recovery from a brain injury and the person themselves lacks insight, also known as self-awareness, into how the injury has affected them, then there is a risk to that individual and possibly those around them. To determine this risk, the BINI is split into 3 sections. The first asks about the history of brain injury. The second uses questions to identify how well someone can carry out everyday tasks. The third section asks about whether a person has changed since their brain injury. Parts 1, 2 and 3 of the BINI require you to consult with 3 different information sources, so you gain a full and rounded perspective of the individual's needs and to help you to spot if the individual lacks insight into their needs. Source 1 is the individual who sustained the injury. The BINI follows the CARE Act guidance on supporting the person's involvement in the assessment. This means that in all cases, the authority must also involve any other person requested by the individual. This person will be Source 2. This person should know the individual well and could be a family member, friend, or a paid support worker. If this is the case, any of these people could be deemed to be part of the individual's support network. If the individual requires an independent or mental capacity advocate, then this should happen, and they should have specialist training and experience in advocating for individuals with a brain injury. But a member of the support network is still required when using the BINI. The assessor's meetings with the individual and the member of the support network must be held face-to-face. The third source is a health professional who could come from a wide variety of experts, including a GP, registered general district or mental health nurse, a clinical psychologist, occupational or speech or language therapists or similar. The health professional is not required to meet you face-to-face to complete the BINI. As long as they understand what they need to do, they can complete the BINI by post or by email. Remember, these 3 sources of information will give you a good idea of whether there is likely to be a lack of insight resulting from the brain injury. Here's an example. The assessor asks if the individual is able to travel locally without assistance. If the individual says yes, they are able to, but the other 2 sources of information disagree and say that the person has problems with road safety and planning a journey, this could point to a lack of insight on the individual's behalf, and this should be investigated further. Once you have completed each section, calculated the scores, and determined if the brain injury is contributing to any needs the individual may have, the BINI offers a next steps and signposting section. It explains what type of care and support the individual may benefit from and what you, as their assessor and care planner, might want to consider. Remember, if in doubt, contact Bert, who will offer you as much support and advice as is possible. Email us bini@thedtgroup.org.